In this video, we're taking a look at the A-star algorithm. I have a small scene set up with some characters that can navigate over a tile grid. We left-click to select and move. We can also right-click to change the cost of any tile to make it cheaper or more expensive to move across, indicated by a change in color. The Pathfinder will adjust its path to move across lighter tiles in favor of darker ones. Our characters will also move slower as this cost increases. Dark tiles are slow, light tiles are faster and preferred. Tiles will find each other dynamically, even if they are created during runtime, so nothing needs to be baked. The map was created using a simple editor script. With it, we can create custom links and connections between tiles, as shown by the use of ladders and jump-off points. Characters can move up and down this ladder, and they can also drop off the right ledge, but they can't climb it. A lot of this was created in my earlier video, where I covered the BFS, or Breadth First Search algorithm. If you're interested in how that works and how you could use it to create something like a tactical shooter, there's a link in the description. You can also download the entire project from there yourself. There will also be a link to this A-star project as well, of course. We will be picking up by downloading the old project as a zip file into a new project. After starting with an empty scene, we open up our editor and create a simple grid. Here we can select a starting point, as well as the size of our grid. Let's just make it 20 by 20 to have something to work with. The lower left corner starts at 0 and reaches 20 tiles across. Dragging a character, it will find the tile beneath it at the start of runtime, but just to make sure we can connect it manually. We need to create a pathfinding object to add our script to. Notice that as we add the pathfinder script, it automatically adds the other components that it needs to work. Also note that everything I'm adding now was created in my last video. Check it out if you're wondering what these things are that I'm adding and where they're coming from. Some changes to the line render thickness and now everything works. This is a complete Breadth First Search pathfinding scene. Now we can change it into the A-star algorithm, which is in fact quite similar. Let's start by taking a look at what A-star is and how it works. BFS, as we explored in the previous video, works by starting at an origin point, exploring all of its surrounding tiles, and then their surrounding tiles over and over until it's explored everything. A-star, on the other hand, requires both an origin and a destination. As it starts to explore its surrounding tiles, it calculates their cost. It then picks the cheapest tile to continue exploring, instead of every surrounding tile in order. Say it randomly selects one of the cheapest tiles with the same cost. It now explores all its neighbors, sorts every tile that we have discovered by the lowest cost, and again picks the cheapest one to explore. It continues doing this until it's reached the destination. In this example, it might as well have taken a left path. The evaluation part works by comparing two costs. As we are evaluating a tile, the G cost is the distance we have traveled to reach the current tile, and the H cost is the approximated cost from the tile to the destination. In this example, the first tile is one tile away from the origin and 2 tile lengths away from the destination, giving us an approximate cost of 3. Together, these two costs are called the F cost. A-star is very quick. It is generally considered to be the best pathfinding alternative in video games. It evaluates the least amount of nodes compared to other pathfinding models. BFS, as we saw earlier, searches every single node, which is very costly. The first step in the conversion process will be to path both an origin and a destination to the pathfinder, and to stop searching once we found it. We're creating an early exit. The algo still runs every frame unnecessarily, but it stops short whenever it reaches the destination that we are hovering over. It's still the same Breadth First Search flood fill algo. I'm going to save us some time and skip to the part where the A-star is already complete. Let's just go through what the code does and how it works instead. So let's summarize it broadly. The first part of the code starts a while loop. Here we sort our tiles by cost, inspect the cheapest tile, and add it to our list of tiles that we have evaluated. We also look for the destination here. In the lower part we evaluate surrounding tiles, update their costs and add them to our open set, which contains all the surrounding nodes that we might want to evaluate later. The algorithm is almost backwards when reading it at first. The last parts add tiles to our list, while the first part is where we evaluate them. The find path method returns a path, which is just an array of tiles. We can see the arguments origin and destination here. We create two lists, open set and closed set. The open set is where we add all new tiles that we discover. All neighboring tiles are added here. The closed set contains what will eventually become the actual path. Here we add all the cheapest tiles from the open set. The while loop can be read as long as there are tiles in the open set. We sort by the lowest cost, make that our current tile, and add it to the closed set, and check if it happens to be the destination. Lastly, we find each neighbor from our current tile in a for each loop. We update the cost for each one and add it to the open set. With the ASR added, we still have a ways to go, but here we can see it working. A line is created through the path that we can take, showing us exactly where the character will move. But at this point we can also see every tile in the closed set being lit up in green color. So these are all the nodes that were evaluated. I will remove this though, as it isn't really useful. Instead we want to see the costs. Let's remove the green illustrations like this, and let's work on showing the cost of each tile instead. We can start by adding a world space canvas and a text to the tile prefab. We add the logic and the debug mode. Now instead of green, we can begin to see the numbers on the tiles. The F cost, or total cost for each tile. It's not being removed after use currently, but that's a later issue. While on the topic of costs, let's create a nice little terrain feature. Each tile can have its own associated cost, a terrain cost. We can make another floor tile that has a different cost and see how our A-star handles it. We can clearly see our character's attempt to avoid the red tiles and would rather move anywhere else. And in our character move script, we can add the terrain cost to the next time we want to move to, as added duration to the time it takes for the character to move there. An ordinary tile has a default cost of 0 and takes 0.4 seconds to traverse. One of these red tiles, however, has a cost of 5 and thus takes 5.4 seconds to traverse. They are painfully slow. The map itself is kind of boring though, and the tool is frustrating to work with at times. I will add some quick features to make better use of it. The ability to focus on different grid parts of the map would be nice. And also a button to create and focus a new grid at any time makes it easier to work on smaller pieces one at a time. Here is the revamped editor. It's still not much to write home about, but it's an improvement. We need a tile to work with, so let's drag it in there. It now tells us that no active grid is selected, and we have the option to create a new one or to focus an already existing grid. Let's create one and call it main grid and regenerate it. We can then also create a secondary grid and work on them separately. There are two scripts responsible for creating our map. Here is the tile generator, which will be instantiated with the grid. It reads the size of the mesh that our tiles will use, which means that the grid will resize itself to the tile that we're using. These magic numbers are there to adjust for the flat hexagonal shape that we're using. A differently shaped tile would need different values. Generate grid clears the old grid and determines the positions necessary with a nested folder. It calls on this uneven row offset method to offset every other row, which again is necessary for flat hexagons. Then we also have the editor script itself, called Grid Editor. It holds all of the GUI stuff, like the fields and the buttons, that we can change in the editor. It's nothing too fancy. It also has the logic for connecting tiles like ladders and grounding characters to the grid beneath them. With the algo in place, the costs being displayed correctly, and improved tools for map creation, we can start to see it all coming together. I played around with a few different maps and enjoyed adding verticality. And even though it can all change dynamically at runtime, we aren't really showing that. We need to be able to change the costs at runtime. Here we can see the camera movement, zooming and right-clicking to change the cost of tiles. A right-click changes the cost, another raises it even more, and a third click reverses it back to 0. I started off creating a switch case that was left over from the BFS project to set color and cost. As a wise man once said, whenever you create a switch case, you should know that there is a better way. Julius Caesar. As a final touch-up, we can replace the switch with a dictionary. The cost will act as a key and the color is the value. We can click once, click twice, yeah, it all still works, and there we go. Most of the time spent wasn't even on the algorithm itself, but rather on all the extra stuff. There's plenty of good reading material on A-Star. It is a well-covered topic. I suggest just googling it if you want to know more. RedBlobGames also has great interactive demos and explanations of how it works, and I will link that down below. In the future I'd like to make both short and more to-the-point tutorials, but occasionally tackle a bigger project like this. I want to have a look at things like flow field pathfinding, wave function collapse and others. If that's something you find interesting, consider subscribing to this channel for future updates. Thank you so much for watching, until next time.